Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tapioca Talk podcast. I have a very special guest today. Her name is Jasmine. Is your last name still Dollente?
Yes.
Jasmine Dollente. Woo. And of course, good old co-host Erico. We're back.
Special.
As you can see, we are in the old studio. Well, this has only been our only studio, but we're back here. Jasmine, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Your first podcast?
Ever. Yep.
You're nervous?
A little, yeah.
Yeah? I can't tell.
A lot.
Seem chill. Very chill.
I'm glad.
Yeah. Hey, are y'all warm or y'all good? Should we turn on the AC? Y'all good?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Just to make sure y'all good.
Hey, can you adjust our mic and bring it closer or something?
Am I being too quiet? I could be louder.
Yeah, you be loud as you want. 'Cause we
Okay.
can always adjust that. And then probably like this much is like how close you want to be.
There?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you lean back or something, just make sure when you talk, you just come back.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. So let's see, episode 55. This is a special one. I like even numbers like that.
Me too.
That's not an even number though.
That's
That's an odd number.
It's a nice
yeah,
number.
yeah, it's a smooth number.
It's a smooth.
So, like, it's funny. As you came in, we were talking how we have known each other, but not really, because our families have like intertwined over the past like decade and a half.
Yeah.
I went to high school with your brother.
Yep.
And your parents. Like we've been knowing each other through the store, through CCD, and here we are. Finally, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's funny that this is the first time like I've ever formally met you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my last memory of you is like as a little girl.
Yeah.
Because like I'm significantly older than you. But yeah. So the reason why I asked you to come on the Tapioca Talk podcast because we follow each other on social media, and I saw your post about you becoming an entrepreneur, small business owner.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, dude, I gotta get Jasmine on. This is so cool.
Thank you.
And even better, on top of that, is I know nothing about what you're doing. So we have this time to just talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So a little bit about Salona Wellness.
Please.
Salona Wellness has been established for about 17 years. The original owner, she had to step back because she did get sick. I was working for her for about 4 months or so. And the line that she was using, I had been trained with in school. So I was very familiar with it. I was very comfortable with it. It was like stepping back into something that I was always supposed to do. I had been licensed as an esthetician for about 4 years, but I never practiced. It was my first time ever being in a spa environment. So being at that spa, that was my first time ever like really taking clients. And she said that she saw my potential, and she was like, hey, like I do want to sell it, and I want you to have like first dibs. So if you guys are up for it, then I want you guys to go for it. So she talked to my parents, and my parents were basically like, if this is what your passion is, we're 100% behind you. So what I do is basically like facials, waxing, all that good stuff. And then I do have workers there that do massages also. So it's basically like a relaxation spa, and that's basically it. I've officially been owning it for a month now.
Dude, can I give you a big high five? That is so cool. You're only 24 years old.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you beat me. You beat me. Dude, another high five. High five. I was like, I love that. Wait,
you.
Can you unplug the...
Yeah.
Sorry about that, buddy. What was your question? I'm going to ask it for you. Oh, no, hold it. When you come back.
I was going to ask you, what age did you start?
Man, I was 29. She beat me by 5 years. I love it. Is that 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can do math still.
Yeah. Well, I'm turning 25 in like 2 weeks.
Dude. Like I know I don't know you, and we just met, and like I'm so proud of you. Like
Thank
I
you.
vouch for other entrepreneurs. That's why I got you on here. That's so cool. And
Thank you so much.
it's like such a brave thing to do, especially at your age. Man, I was like scared shitless before I opened my first business.
Yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking, but I wasn't like scared. I don't know if it's because it was an already established business and they had a really good reputation. But I just felt like this is something that I was meant to do. So I really wasn't nervous at all, just taking over. And then I had been working at another job for about 4 years. So during the time that I was licensed, I was working somewhere else to pay off my my student loans from beauty school. And during that time, I kind of learned how to step into a leadership role. So I was pretty okay with like the whole management thing and all of that, just based off of my experience there. That's actually where I came from right now. So I still work both jobs.
Wow.
Yeah.
What brought you into Salona Wellness? Like, tell me about your first day.
So it's a funny story because I was actually working at my optical job. I work in an optometry, and I had one of my dad's, I don't remember how they know each other. I don't know if they were like coworkers or if they were just like old friends or what, but she came in buying like over-the-counter readers. And I don't know how we got on the topic of it, but we started talking about how I'm licensed for aesthetics. And she was like, oh, I have a friend who owns her own spa, and she's hiring for estheticians right now. She's always hiring. So I gave her my contact info, and she reached out to Tita Lorna, the previous owner. And Tita Lorna reached out to me, and she was like, I'm very interested in interviewing you. So if I weren't at that other job, I wouldn't be owning Salona Wellness right now.
Nice.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you were there for 4 years before you became owner? Was it 4 years? What did you say again?
I was at the optical job for 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how long were you working at Solano before you became owner?
Like 3 months.
3 months. What?
3-4 months. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. You were super brave then.
So I started working there last September. Officially, I had my first client.
Okay. Yeah, you said that. You said yes.
And then she formally asked me, I think, February.
Wow.
So everything has been kind of in a transition period. We're also like moving. So I have my full-time job that's taking over the business, and then we're also moving. So it's just been kind of like a really big transition period.
Dude. And you're making time for this podcast. So once again, I really appreciate that.
Of course, yeah. I always make time for.
So what has been like the biggest challenge so far since you've taken over?
That's a good question. Just, I guess, finding balance for everything. Since I do have so many things going on, we're like back and forth between both houses. I still work full-time hours at my other job. Trying to do like scheduling for Salona Wellness. I'm still trying to figure out how to do payroll and stuff. So just being in charge of like the business accounts and all of that, and making sure like the employees are paid, like that's really important to me, because it's like, as an employee, I want to make sure I'm paid.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So just making sure that I do all the calculations right and I give them the right money, and making sure that everything's fully stocked. I think that's about it. But in terms of like making sure everything else is paid, like rent and other stuff like that,
Yeah.
that was something that I was nervous about too, because like we started the business account from zero. So seeing zero and like knowing, okay, I got to pay rent, I got to pay this, I got to pay that, I got to get inventory, like that was very nerve-wracking. But like just seeing everything grow, I think like everything just kind of evened out, everything balanced out.
Nice.
So now it's just kind of finding time for everything, just
Yeah.
between everything going on. But that's about it.
If it makes you feel any better, I mean, I've been in this game a long time, and I'm still trying to find balance. So you're not the only one, you know. So it's almost like you don't really find balance. I don't know if this is discouraging, but you don't find balance. You just kind of get used to the chaos, right?
That makes sense, yeah.
And then your life will somehow, your normal life will somehow find its way to revolve around whatever it is that you do within your small business.
That makes sense, actually. I feel like that's kind of the crevice that I'm heading for.
Yeah.
Because I do say like, oh, I'm always working, but I still find time to see my friends and go to the gym. I'm actually seeing my friends and going to the gym after this podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like for the things that are important, they find time, or you find time for them.
Yes.
So I think that's what it is. Like you just.
Yo, like I tell this to like all my young entrepreneurs and people who are interested in getting into our line of business. If you are grinding like hella hard, like, you know, you can only answer that question yourself. Am I feeding my business the way I should be feeding it, with my time, with my thoughts, and just the physical work? Then you should have no issues with doing the fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're getting your work done, you should make time to to be balanced, because that mental health stuff that we weren't talking about 10 years ago, it's important. It's really important. And you know, that stuff will sneak up on you. You know, you're grinding for like 2 years at your business, and you're going to wake up one day and be like, whoa, like what happened to my friends? What happened to my family? Like, and you're only 24 years old. You should be enjoying your 20s. And I see that to be very possible regardless of like how busy you are. So, you know, more power to you for doing that. Yeah. That's cool. You know, I brought on Erico for a reason, because you guys are fairly the same. You're only a couple years older than him. And we've been talking since he's come on to work for me. He's shown interest to do the same thing, right? Because he's entrepreneurial and he wants to not have a boss, even though I'm his boss. It's kind of weird, because one day he's going to be like, I don't need a boss anymore, and I can't say anything. So I'm playing with some fire right now. But I was going to ask you, Erico, like, because, you know, when I was coming up, I would use other people's stories to motivate me. I'm like, oh, dude, this person's doing that. Like, I want to do that too. Yeah. Like, with regards to where you are right now, can you like relate your story to Jasmine's at all?
Oh, wait, sorry. Like,
was that a weird question?
I mean, it was like, so it was like, I can relate to it in the sense of like wanting it to run the best that it can, and like in regards, also in regards of like time management, like I'm ass at that, but like everything does seem to revolve around
everything
does seem to revolve around like what does the store need, and like, well, do I have time to do this, or can I say, or am I not am I allowed, but like, or do I really have to prioritize one thing, this one thing first? Like, for instance, like I told you I was gonna be running late, or because like my sister's car died earlier, so like I had to prioritize jumping the car and getting her home, so then they can replace the battery or like whatever they want to do after. But it's like stuff like that. Like, like we ran out of tortillas one time, and like I prioritized my break to go and get some tortillas. You know, like stuff like that. Like I feel like that's as much as I can relate at the moment. Yeah. As well as like what you were saying with like seeing other people doing stuff, and like I can do that too. I want to do that too.
I don't know if I phrased that question properly, but because, you know, Eric and I, we had a really like long talk maybe 2 weeks ago, and Erico pretty much was like, hey, I want to be like you, RJ. And I was like, hell yeah. I think essentially that's what he said.
Yeah, it was essentially that.
I mean, I'm just saying what he said. I'm not like tooting my own horn. And I was like, yeah, dude, like I've talked about it many, many times on this podcast. That's all what I'm all about. I want to share this art, whatever you call it, that we do. You know what I mean? And the art of not having a boss. Right. Right. God, I hate having a boss. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. So anyways, back to the age of head. So I did have another question about just you before and then now as an owner. What do you think? Because are your current workers, are they the same people from when you were just a employee there?
Yes.
How's that adjustment been for you?
So for me, it's been a little bit weird because they are older than me.
Oh man, I've been there before. Go.
But I've kind of gotten used to that because I'm the youngest worker at my other job also. So when we were hiring people for my other job, them taking instruction from me didn't go over very well because I was so much younger. So we would hire people that are like in their 30s or 40s, and I was in my early 20s. I'm still in my early 20s.
Yes, you are.
So that's how I learned how to step into a leadership role a little bit more. I got a little bit more confident because I knew my stuff. So I think the adjustment period was just a little weird for me at Salona Wellness because they're older Filipino ladies. So it's a difference between them being like older and they're just older and like I can talk to them, but it's different when like they're Filipino and they've been raised in the culture and I've been raised in the culture.
Yeah.
So it's like there's this dynamic of, okay, I have to respect you because you're my elder, and I'm going to respect you because you're my elder. But authority-wise, I'm the owner and you guys are workers, but I don't really see it that way because it's the way that we've always been at Salona Wellness is like a partnership. So if I book clients, and of course Tita Lorna got most of that money, it's the same way now that I'm the owner. But it's always been like, if you pour into the business, then the business pours back into you type of environment. And I really liked that. I felt like even when I was just a worker, I felt like I was a bigger part than I really was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So I took great pride in being just a worker. And I can see that they do also. They do take great pride in what they do. So that's just been kind of like a weird dynamic for me. They've never really made a big deal about it. They were actually really excited, and they were just like, oh yeah, I'm going to be your worker. I'm going to work for you. When they, like, before I even announced that I was taking over, they were just like, yeah, I'm going to work for you.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be your employee. And I was just like, okay, Tita.
Yeah, that's weird. I remember when my parents first opened the grocery store, and just by way of me being the son of the owners, I was general manager right away. And boy, I did not deserve that. And I didn't know how to be a general manager. And here I was managing 30-year-old, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, because we had a wide breadth of uncles and aunties.
Right.
And I just assumed that I had to be like the typical manager that you saw on TV. And boy, did I crash and burn, because I had no experience. And man, like I can remember, like right now, like I can just remember the look on their faces, like their eyes were pretty, were saying, this dumb motherfucker doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And for years I wondered, like, why is nobody like listening to me, And I think my dad, he kind of threw me in the deep end on purpose. He wanted me to know, like you got to earn this shit. So just like the fact that you're doing this so young and you're not managing, you're managing older like employees. That's pretty cool. And you're getting so, I'm only assuming you're getting so many learning lessons from this.
100%. So that was actually one of the things that I was really nervous about, is booking them and being in charge of the books. But they've been with Tita Lorna for so long that they are pretty self-sufficient.
Okay, that's good.
So, I mean, that's one of the greatest things about taking over is it's already established. So all of the workers there have been with Tita Lorna for at least a few years. So they kind of know how the business runs. They know how to take care of themselves. They know how to keep themselves booked. They know how to keep themselves busy. I don't really have to worry about being there in order for the store to run, Mm-hmm. I do check in every now and then. My mom, I mean, I'm not doing this alone. My parents are huge factors.
Shout out to your parents.
Shout out to my parents. They be the real. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be able to do this at all.
Yeah.
Especially my mom. She has her hands pretty deep in it, and she's still working full-time as a manager at the bank. So she has her full-time job. I have my full-time job. We're both kind of in this, and we were kind of thrown in it. We've never owned businesses before. I mean, we've always been around like people who own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We've always heard like their stories about what goes on. So we kind of weren't like in the dark about it. But it still didn't prepare us for half of the stuff that we had to take over, especially my mom not really knowing anything about like the spa business or anything. I mean, I knew like the only part that I knew was like actually doing the facials, and then I knew kind of the business aspect from like an optical standpoint, but I'm a salesperson.
Gotcha.
So it's like kind of know, but kind of don't know. I don't know like the real back end part of it. But I mean, if it weren't for my mom, I'm pretty sure I'd be sinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you bring that up, because this is something I've had in my mind for like the past year or so. Like, so with social media, we have just this breadth of information, and everybody's basically able to speak their mind. I mean, look, I have this podcast. Like, who am I? I'm like fucking nobody and I have a podcast. You know what I mean? So, and one thing like I have been disagreeing with is like for the most part, is the look on Filipino parents, like the generation before us. Everybody's just making the assumption of all of these things that they did wrong. And it's like almost accepted, like Filipino parents are this way. But I disagree because, like, look, your parents, my parents, they weren't telling me to be a nurse. They were telling me to chase my passion.
Yeah.
And then hearing uncle and auntie just to be like, you know what, I got your back. Do this. Like, this is like the most riskiest thing you could do right now.
Yeah.
You know, you're only 24 years old.
Yeah.
And your parents were like, I got you. So, like, I just want to put that out there. Like, you can't just make this generalization that Filipino parents only want you to be a nurse. They only want you to be a doctor. Like, there's parents out there who are willing to, like, trust their kids.
Yeah.
And you're proof.
Yeah.
Sitting right next to me, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents weren't always like that. I did go to college for years. And the reason why I went for years is because I didn't have any passion for it. I never had the drive to finish. The only reason why I even went to beauty school is because I promised them that I would go back to like community college and get my associates, you know? And then it was sometime last year actually that I sat them down and I was like, I'm too stressed. I don't like school. I mean, I'll go because like I'm so close, but I'm not happy. I'm really not happy. And my dad, he's like military, Air Force, you know, military.
Yeah, your dad's dope. I love your dad.
Yeah, I love my dad too. But he was very conservative. He's very like, you need to do this so that you have something to support yourself, and you can always back on a degree and all of that stuff. So he was very like, go to college for a very long time. But I don't know what it was about that conversation, but he sat me down. He was like, okay, I hear you. My mom was always behind me 100%. She was just like, do whatever makes you happy. But it was that conversation. My dad was just like, okay, I hear you. You don't have to go. If it's not going to make you happy, don't go.
Yeah.
Let's find what makes you happy. So I stopped going to school. I just worked throughout the summer. And then in September, that's when I got the opportunity to go to the spa. And he was just like, yeah, let's go for it. And he was actually the one that was like, if this is what you want to do, let's go for it. And my mom's always backed me. I was never worried about my mom. My mom is like my biggest cheerleader ever in the world. I'm so lucky to have her. But my dad, we've gotten so close this last year, and I know that he's always loved me and he's always supported me, but he's been more vocal about it. And it's so nice to see him so vocal. I know a lot of like Filipino dads are very like very conservative and they don't talk about like their feelings, but like my dad's actually gotten a lot more open with himself and what he's feeling and what he's thinking, and we've always like we've been trying to validate that, like, okay, yeah, we hear you, you matter, like that matters. I think that's what a lot more Filipino men need to hear is like, you matter, your opinion matters. But the more we are open with that, the more open he is with us.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do before and that he didn't let me do before, he's actually letting me do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The spa's like the biggest one.
Nice.
But yeah, it was like a huge turning point where I was just like, I am not happy, dude. Like, I really don't want to be going to school. I don't have the drive for it. Like, I'm good at it, but I don't like this.
Yeah.
And he was just like, okay, let's find something else. Let's go another way.
We're going to be best friends. I talk so much shit about school on this podcast. It's so bad, like to the point where my wife like gets mad at me because my wife is very scholarly. Like, she's my business partner, and thank God for her. And we don't agree about school, but I have a college degree, but I tell so many people who want to come into our game, like, don't go to school. Don't waste your time. And I'm sure you know by now, you do not need to go to business school to be a small business owner.
Oh, no.
Like, maybe if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be like a financial analyst or something like more technical, go to business school. But if you want to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, man, you got to put in the hard work, and you just got to talk to people, and you got to be smart. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Don't waste 4 years and like hella money. Mm-hmm. So like you made the right decision. Yeah. Look at you. It worked out.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I wasn't going to school for business at all. I was going to school initially to be a forensic anthropologist.
Whoa. That's what I'm talking about. Hey.
And then I ended up changing my major to be an English major. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to teach. And then I didn't want to teach.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing this.
See, that's the cool part about life. And what I don't understand about the traditional like way of going to school, we're told at a young age, okay, or you're asked already, like at 5 years old, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what? You want me to tell you what I'm going to do at 5 years old?
My answer at 5 was a helicopter.
There you go. You want to be a helicopter.
Not the pilot. I wanted to be a helicopter.
Dude, I love that. See? That's what I'm saying.
Like, how, what?
You know, maybe you can get there soon. You know,
Maybe
it's
one day.
2022. You could be a helicopter.
It could be anything.
You can be whatever you want now. There's no more rules.
There's no rule.
And like, look, you're only 24. Like, you could like just be 10 years from now, you know, you could change your mind on this and you could be something else. And as long as you have that number one currency, it's not money, it's happiness.
Yeah.
It's happiness.
I think that's one of the things that at my current job, my manager there, one of her biggest things is like, don't do something and think that you have to do it for the rest of your life. That's gonna make you not want to do it. And she was telling me all of the jobs that she's done in her lifetime, and she's only like 42.
Nice.
But she is she's a boss. Like she did her thing. She had like a million different jobs and she did what she needed to do. And she said that she loved pretty much everything that she did, every single part of it. And I was like, well, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do that. And she was basically just like, yeah, go for it. If you feel like you're going to want to do it, if you feel like you're going to be good at it, take a stab at it. And if you're not good at it, or if you find out that you don't like it, at least you tried.
Yes.
And she was like, do it because you have the passion for it, even if it's just in the moment. And then once you figure out that it's not for you, then there's a million other things that you can try. And that's one of the things that like really made me want to do this. Like,
yeah.
The reason why I didn't go into it for 4 years is because I was scared. I was scared that like I loved this so much and I wasn't going to be good at it. And she was like, well, how do you know if you don't try?
Yeah.
And then she was also like one of my biggest supporters when I was figuring this out too. And she just kept saying like, how do you know you're not good at it if you don't try to do it? You're just you're just in your own head. You're in your head too much. So I think like that's one of the coolest things is like I know that like this is a big deal, but I also know that I'm not stuck.
Yep.
You know?
Especially at your age. You're 20. Like I tell this to, you know, once again to people like Erico, like at 24, this is the perfect time for you to take these big risks.
Yeah.
You know, because you still have people who have your back and you're not necessarily like pot committed. So it's dope. That happens at least once a podcast. So
I literally told you right before.
It was on silent. It was on silent. So dang it. So man, that killed I had something really big. What is it? You squeeze your thumbs. Okay. So squeeze your thumbs to remember. I learned that in this podcast. Squeeze your thumbs. I'm going to remember. So
24, 21, people my age.
yeah, risk taking and oh yeah, I had it. I got it. It worked. So did you have anybody telling you, not necessarily like hating on you, but just be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this? It's not the best choice? Or was everybody just like, yeah?
Everyone was like, do it.
Nice.
Do it.
Nice.
Like 100% do it. I think that you're going to be great at it. You're going to be a boss at it. And I was just like, oh, you really think so?
Yeah.
You really think? I was my biggest hater.
Yeah.
I was my biggest hater, yeah.
That could be a good thing sometimes though.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm my biggest critic and I know it.
Yeah.
Everyone else was just like, go for it. You're going to be so great at this. Like you deserve every single bit. And I was just like, this is kind of too good to be true. And everyone else was kind of just like, is it though? Is it too good to be true? Because if it was, it wouldn't. Yeah. It wouldn't be for you. It wouldn't be here in front of you.
I believe that everybody is their own biggest critic, and like that's the only thing like that's stopping a lot of people is like themselves, and then as well as like their own thoughts of like a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing is like, and that's what I said earlier. Like I love this so much, and I'm so passionate about it. What if I suck? And what if I find out that something that I'm so passionate about, I suck at it? Then what?
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the with Imposter Syndrome?
I am.
You are, yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
You know, and I've come to find people with imposter syndrome, they're like the most successful people in this world. So I think that's a good trait to have because I mean I've been serving food to people for like more than 15 years now, and I still get nervous. Like till this day, even if there's like a 5-year-old kid, like I'm worried if this kid's gonna like this burrito that I serve,
Right.
you know. So, and it's weird; it never goes away. And like I make sure, like I sauce that burrito up. I put the best rice, and I make sure it's hella good. And I still like wonder, like, fuck, dude, I don't know if he's gonna like it.
There's always going to be someone, and I think that's something that I keep in my head, is that there's always going to be someone that's not going to like what you give, no matter what. Even if you put 100%, there's always going to be someone who wants 110.
Yep.
And if you do your best, there's nothing else that you can do about it.
How do you know all these things at such a young age? What's wrong with you?
I am constantly trying to prove myself wrong.
Why do you know all these things? I was 24-year-old. Let's go back to 24-year-old RJ. He didn't give a fuck about anything. No, that's not true.
You
I was
care
like,
about girls.
Yeah. I was like 1 year away from graduating. That's weird. Good for you. Good for you.
I had a lot of good examples growing up. I really looked up to my brothers, and I really looked up to my parents.
Yeah.
They were, I mean, I'm going to say it over and over, like they're my biggest supporters. They're my biggest support system. And now I have amazing sister-in-laws.
Yeah.
And they're boss at what they do.
Shout out to Sarah.
Shout out to
Hey.
Sarah. Shout out to Ate Casey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Dude, shout out to all of them, man. I love y'all's fam, dude.
Yeah. Shout out to all my siblings and all my parents.
Yep. That's dude, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I have the best support system that I could have ever asked for. I don't think I could have asked for anyone better.
Yeah.
To be behind me.
And see, that's so important. And that's another reason why, like, I want to just share this thing that we call entrepreneurship, because like I have the same thing through my family, that support, and not everybody has that. And like, I'll talk to some friends and people just along the way, and they don't have that support. And that's really why they're listening to that voice in their head that's doubting them.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody to tell them you can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just whoever's listening, like, you can do it. I'm telling you.
You can't.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the voice.
Yes.
You can do it.
You can do it.
can
Let's say
do
it together now.
You can do it.
That was so corny. That was the fucking corniest thing we've ever done on this podcast.
I feel like if it involves me, there's always going to be something corny.
Yeah. Okay, it's perfect then. It's more. Yeah. So we don't mind corny today.
There's a corny for the day.
You can do it. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna ask you a corny ass question.
Okay.
What does it mean to you to be an entrepreneur?
That's a good question, and I don't know if I have an answer for it, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I like that too.
I don't think there is like a right or wrong answer for that, but I don't think off top I have my own answer. I think that's something that I do need to ponder.
Don't worry. I don't even know what it is either. So I'm tell this story. So I was transferring from Solano to Sac State, and I remember my parents were like, I know you don't like school, but I just would like you to finish. And I was like, okay, I can do that for you, because they provided me with everything I needed, and I had no excuses.
Right.
Because all I did was just have fun. And so,
Right.
So I remember just browsing through the Sac State like program to see what I can graduate with, and I saw entrepreneurship, and I was comparing the amount of units to graduate to like other things, and it had the least amount. So I chose entrepreneur because like this is my fastest route out of Sac State. So I chose entrepreneurship, and it was like new at the time, and like how was anyways, it was like meant to be. But anyways, I remember taking all these entrepreneurship classes and all these teachers just teaching it and just taking it on for like a paycheck, because they themselves didn't know what entrepreneurship was, and it was still such a new thing. Nobody was saying, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur when I grow up." You know what I mean?
I remember that's funny you bring that up, because one of the biggest things that I remember about Kuya Jeremy is on his MySpace. When MySpace was a thing.
Yeah.
You know how you had to write like a little bio?
Yep.
His was, I'm an entrepreneur. And I was like, what is that? I don't even know I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what you did, Kuya. But he was like, I'm an entrepreneur. And I was just like, I like that. I don't know what that means, but I like it. It shows ambition. And like just seeing my brother's like whole demeanor change from then on. I don't know like exactly when it like clicked, but I was just like, he's a lot more confident in himself and everything that he does. And I don't know if it's because he switched his mentality. I don't know if it's because like he learned what entrepreneurship was, and that's what changed it. But I just remember going on his MySpace and seeing his bio be like, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yo, he was ahead of his time, man.
Yeah.
One thing that stands out just real quick on Jeremy, he was like one of the first people I ever knew to just like work out. Because, you know, I'm so old that working out wasn't even really a thing back then.
You know, we're not that old.
No, I'm telling you, dude, it wasn't popular to work out. It wasn't like workout culture is so popping right now.
It's
you know what I
new.
mean?
It's new.
So your brother
Newer.
was like showing off workout culture way before it was a thing. And I remember him just grinding because every time me and the homies were at the gym on base, he was always there. So that man's work ethic, like your dad did a good job with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he really drilled it in.
And that's one thing I'll always remember about your brother. He's like, dude, this guy got biggest arms and he's only like 15 years old.
When we got older, when I was in high school, I started going with him, and we kind of like, that was like our thing.
Nice.
So when I was 15 and he was 26, so he was about my age when this was happening, he started taking me to In Shape, and that was kind of like, one, it was our bonding time, but it was also like, it was a time for us to vent. Like, that's how we bonded, and that's how we like really got to like decompress, and we would like meal prep together. Like, that's one of the things that he and I did together a lot for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of my discipline came from that time, actually.
Nice.
So it's funny that like people saw him for doing that.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the things that I actually love from like my memories with him.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully he listens to this and hears that.
Well, I told that to Sarah that I was gonna be on the podcast, and
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm gonna listen to it. What's it on?" And I was like, "Oh, I think
It's gonna be
on
this week.
Apple Podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna
Or
be
Apple
this week.
Music."
Yeah, we're gonna promote the hell out of this one. This is a good pod.
Cool.
So are you familiar with or do you listen to podcasts at all or no? It's okay if you don't.
I did, but it was like true crime.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's a popular genre, yeah.
Yeah, I really like true crime.
Gotcha. So there's this podcast that I listen to. It's called How I Built This. It's a small business entrepreneur podcast. And
Right.
one of the guests was Marcia Kilgore. Are you familiar with her?
I'm not.
One of my most favorite podcasts on that pod, and she is she started off as an esthetician. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Are you an esthetician technically?
I am
Yeah.
a licensed esthetician.
So she's a little older, but she started in the 80s, and kind of like a similar story as yours. She was passionate about your line of work.
Right.
And long story short, she changed the game. I have to like re-listen to it again. But her story was like so amazing because she saw all these holes in the 80s of like how estheticians were doing their thing. I think like at the time they were using like steam. Like, you know how you'll steam like a suit to like take the wrinkles out?
Yeah.
And then like she was like, I don't know, like she was just saying how like that was wrong. And she started doing her research, and she was just a natural like business person. And through that, she was able to build like multi-million-dollar businesses. Like, she's fucking rich right now off of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm it reminded me of you. I should have listened to that podcast before I came again, but it's such a good podcast. And I was like, oh, okay, you're next. You're going to be just like this billionaire based off of like being an esthetician. You know what I mean?
I feel it. Yeah. I do have a lot of plans coming up for Salona Wellness. I do. So Tita Lorna didn't do a lot of like social media marketing. So that's open for us now.
Yeah.
We do have like a pretty decent sized following for us to do that. And then I do have a few ideas for like expanding to things that are a little bit newer. So I don't want to announce it just yet, just because things are still in the works, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, we offer this and we don't. But we do want to expand our scope a little bit more. And then we are going to be doing a lot of like community outreach. I do want to start promoting a lot of different modalities and services. So just like stay tuned for all of those things.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so since I have you here, I want to talk to you about something specific, and maybe you can enlighten us.
Okay.
So, is it safe to say that most of your clients are women?
It's a pretty good mix, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's just me being like naive to everything. That's good.
A lot of people do kind of assume that it's just women that are the biggest demographic, but there are a lot of men that are getting into their skincare. It's like I do have a lot of I don't want to say older, but I do have like a lot of like mid-30 men coming in.
That's me.
a lot of, that's why I didn't want to say that.
I'm mid-30. It's okay. I'm 36 and proud, boy.
But I do have like a lot of, they are a lot of single men, and then there are some men that are kind of dragged in by their spouses or their girlfriends or whatever. But I do have a lot of men that are interested in skincare. I don't know if it's just they find it interesting or if they want to start taking care of themselves that way. I know a lot of men just want to pamper themselves sometimes. So there is kind of like a stigma that is around men going to spas just for relaxation and because they care about their skin, because it's kind of seen as a traditionally feminine thing to do. Mm-hmm. But I do have a good mix of men and women.
Oh, it's good to know.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a little better, because I was going to ask you, because I always like to, what's the word? I always like to, whoever comes on the pod, I want to support them. There you go.
Right.
So for sure, one day I'm going to stop by the business, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be a little like scared, I guess, because I have no idea what would go on. And
Right.
so maybe you can kind of walk me through, like, let's say, hey, hello, hi, Jasmine. I've never been here before. Tell me what you can do for me.
Okay, so actually, it's funny because I have a story for this.
Okay.
I had a friend who recently came in for his first facial ever, and he didn't know what to expect. He's this Latino man, and he's very, very Latino, so he's very traditional.
Yeah.
And I was like, just come in. I'll walk you through it. Because one day he hit me up, and he was just like, hey, I have a question about your job. And at first I was like, well, which job? Because you want eyes?
I do it all, bitch. I'm just kidding.
I was like, you want eyes or you want skin? What you got questions for?
Yeah.
And he was like, for the spa. And I was like, okay, what question do you have? And he was like, do you think that like you can help me with my skin? And I was like, well, first you got to tell me about like what your concerns are. So I had like a little survey for him, and my usual survey is like, well, what's your skin like now? What do you want your skin to look like in the future? How much are you willing to invest in this? How important is this to you? What's your budget like? And then like other stuff like lifestyle, like what do you do for work? How often do you put on sunscreen? How much water do you drink? Do you use skincare right now? And if so, what skincare do you use? He used bar soap.
I still use bar soap.
I'm judging you. I'm judging
Bar
you.
soap?
Yeah, continue.
Bro, I don't
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I don't even use bar soap.
So he was like, he works in construction. He uses bar soap. He used cocoa butter for his skincare, like lotion. And I was like, that's not too bad, but it's kind of what I expect from a lot of men. I know like a lot of men don't really take consideration into their skin just because, like, again, it is seen as a traditionally feminine thing to do. But he was genuinely interested, and he was like, I really, like, I'm 24, turning 25, and I look like I'm 30.
Wow.
And he was just like, that's concerning for me. And I was like, one, you work in construction and you don't wear sunscreen. So if there's any men listening and you want, like, one thing that you can change without feeling uncomfortable about doing, invest in some sunscreen. That's like number one. Sunscreen and drink hella water. Those are the two most important things for skincare. So he was texting me this whole time, and he was just like, I'm really nervous. I don't know what to expect. I don't know, like, what I'm supposed to do. Like, where do I put my hands? And I was like, your stomach, dude. Like,
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Just keep them
Just keep it like this all the time. But I was like, just come in and relax and just trust me. I know what I'm doing. I kind of know what you want with your skincare goals. And he was just like, yeah, like, I want to look my age. And I was like, you do look your age. But I think, I mean, like we said earlier, everyone is kind of more critical of themselves than other people. So once you get in, you fill out this form. And it's basically all the same questions that I had originally asked him before. But I need to have it on paper so that I can keep track of it. And then we got him in the spa bed, and he actually got so relaxed that he fell asleep. And that's usually my goal when people come in, is like, I want them to be so relaxed that they fall asleep, especially if they're coming in just for like routine maintenance. If it's like extractions and stuff, I don't expect them to fall asleep at all. Extractions are kind of painful.
That sounds scary.
I mean, it's like Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
all the pimples and getting all the blackheads and stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
So I don't expect you to fall asleep during that. but he didn't need any extractions. His skin was kind of just dehydrated, and I gave him like the full thing, and he fell asleep. Afterwards, he was just like, dude, I'm coming back. I'm for sure going to come back for more. Like, I'm not even, like, my skin's glowing. I feel good. Like, I feel relaxed. I feel rejuvenated. And I was like, wow, that's a big word, bro. But he was like, I just feel so...
Rejuvenated. I like that.
Good.
Yeah, you did that, dude.
Yeah. He was like, I just feel good. And, like, the next couple of days after, he would text me. He was like, dude, I'm glowing. My skin feels so good. Like, I've been using, like, the sample products that you gave me. And like I've been using the sunscreen and all of this stuff, and I was like, yeah, dude, keep it up, and you'll get where you need to go.
Nice.
So it doesn't need to be like this whole big thing. We don't need like all the bells and whistles. If you want to go just to see what there is to see, you're totally welcome to do that. If you find that it's not for you, then like we can either cut it short or like you just don't have to come back.
Where did he put his hands?
On his stomach, up in the air.
So I'm just kidding. So okay, I'm gonna go in. I'll probably bring the wife maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I want the works.
Yeah, we have couples packages.
I want
too.
the works. Like I want everything. Like what can I expect? Are you allowed to talk about that? Like what if I wanted I want the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I mean we can definitely.
I don't care what it costs. Just make me feel like that guy. I want to be rejuvenated.
So I'd probably set you up with like a microdermabrasion. It's basically a modality where we do exfoliation. It's a mechanical exfoliation. You have like a diamond tip on the end of like this. It's like a little vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
It's a diamond tip, and then we run it across your face, and it flicks all of the dead skin up, and it vacuums it into the little suction. And that also helps like plump up your face. I notice for like a lot of clients, if they have like fine lines or wrinkles, it helps redefine them and makes them smooth. So we can do that. I do them on myself just because I have textured skin. So we could definitely do that for you. I noticed that a lot of men who have beards, they get they have like the most dead skin under their beards. So we'd run it over your beard and everything.
Probably, dude.
And then so we would mask you up. We could get you some LED therapy.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, this is dope. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm gonna do this.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, I want all of it. How long am I gonna be there? It don't matter.
It's about an hour.
Oh, okay. I could. Yeah. An hour away from like work and stuff. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Are you guys open every day?
We are open every day. We do have someone there every day.
Where are you guys?
We're actually like down the street.
Down the street.
We're off Webster.
Oh,
Webster.
shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right there.
It's right there. Nice.
What time are you guys open?
We're usually open like 10 to 5.
10 to 5?
10 to 5.
Okay. Yeah, I can make some work.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
All you.
And then, so on top of the skin stuff, is there anything else that sets you apart from other like places?
I think that compared to a lot of other places that are local, we're a lot more affordable. So we do the microdermabrasion for like $95. And then we are introducing, I'm going to announce this one because it's not on the spa menu yet, but we do have it. We're going to be doing hydrofacials, which is kind of similar to like the microdermabrasion, but with like water and other serums and stuff.
Oh, when's that going to be ready? I think I want that.
I'm rolling it out for Mother's Day special, actually.
Nice.
So our Mother's
Oh
Day
yeah,
special.
my mom. Oh, I'm sending my mom to you.
Take your
Yes.
mom.
Yeah.
For sure. Send everyone. So our Mother's Day special is 30 minutes of a hydrofacial and 30 minutes of a massage with any modality. So hot stone, LED therapy, like if you want deep tissue. So it's 30 and 30 of each.
Okay.
And then that's going to be, I believe we settled on like 205.
Hey, not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then usually the hydrofacials around this area go between 200 to 300, kind of depending on where you go.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's significantly better.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah.
So we do try to be a little bit more affordable. We do cater to like a lot older demographic. So I am trying to reach out to like a younger demographic and let them know like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that are there, they've been going there for about 17 years or so.
Wow.
They've stayed with the Salona for a very long time. And the only reason why they leave is either because they PCS or that they just can't come anymore. But we try to make it affordable for everybody. We do have like prepay plans where you can come monthly. And then you get a little bit of a discount doing that if you do want to come every month versus paying like full price every single time.
Gotcha.
So we do try to be more like community and family orientated. We are all very passionate about our work. We're more passionate about the work than like the dollars coming in.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that was very important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't really want to work for like a bigger corporation at first.
Yeah.
But it was also hard for me to get into like a spa environment around here because they wouldn't work around my school schedule. And then Tita Lorna was like, you should have reached out to me. I would have done whatever to get you in the business, to get your foot in the door. And I was just like, well, I mean, it's 2020.
I'm here now.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things is we're affordable. And I mean, I know that a lot of other places care about their people, but we care.
Yes.
We truly do care.
Doesn't that go such a long way when you pour your time into your employees instead of your bottom line?
Yeah.
It comes back tenfold, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because I truly do believe, and this is something that we were actually talking about right before I came in here, is Tita Lorna sent us a group chat, and she was like, if everyone can like do their part to keep the place clean and make sure that our reputation stays a good reputation. And I was just like, yes, I completely appreciate everyone's contribution to our reputation. Because like I said before, we are more of like a partnership than like an owner and employee type of relationship.
Yeah.
So we are pretty close. Like we bring each other food. You know how it is.
Yeah,
We do like potlucks every so often whenever we're all there. And if there's something that like someone left, they'll be like, hey, like I left this for you, like make sure you eat it type of thing.
Nice.
So we are fairly close. We're very personable with each other and with our clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe you. You know what I mean? Like you'll talk to people sometimes, and you can just tell like they don't necessarily mean that, and they're not sure. But just talking to you for this past hour, like you got to figure it out. Yeah. And I'm not gonna say that to like some 24-year-old. You know what I mean? Like you got you got a long way to go, and there's so many things to learn. Like always,
right?
But you really you got it down. You got it down. Yeah. I am not worried about you at all. You shouldn't care what I think about you, but like I'm not worried. Like I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
This is like watch like a year from now you'll have like 3 more or something, right?
Yeah, that's cool. It'd be nice to open up a few more locations.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we're gonna get this one under our belt first, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Cool. I got one more question for you.
Okay.
How do you stay motivated?
I want to be able to provide for my parents the life that they've been able to provide for me. I've never wanted or needed for anything, and seeing my parents work so hard and seeing their drive, and then seeing my siblings have their own businesses plus like their own jobs, and like seeing them thrive and work hard for their kids and everything, that's something that I want to do for my parents, and like my future family whenever that comes along. And I want to be able to give my dog like a good life too, and just not be able to not have to rely on anybody else, and know that like I got it. Know that I'm a force by myself. I'm constantly trying to prove myself wrong. But my biggest motivation is like being able to let my parents know that I got it.
Yes.
If we're out like for dinner, I want to be able to pay and not worry about it. Or if they want something, like I'm gonna go get my dad a pair of shoes. He liked my Hirachis, so these are really comfortable. It's like walking on air. Like I want to be able to like just give my parents stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be able to have what they want and not worry about like, oh, we have to pay rent, or not that they worry or anything, but I want to be able to spoil them the way that they spoiled me. I want to be able to pay them back before like, I don't want to like bring that up, but like before it's too late,
Yeah.
Like while they're able to enjoy everything, I want to be able to provide for them. They're my biggest motivation. They're the reason why I hustle hard.
Nice. Some corny ass shit.
I told you.
What I'm about to say is some corny ass shit. Like just hearing that motivates me.
Yeah.
So, like that's beautiful. And what better way to end the podcast than on some corny ass shit?
Yeah. If it involves me, it has to be corny.
No, man, that's beautiful. And seriously, like talking to you, a young hustler, you motivate me to keep on doing what I'm doing. So I appreciate you. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was dope.
Yeah.
This was dope.
Yeah, I like
Hell
it.
yeah.
It was cool.
Peace.